Are you ready for more? Welcome to Having It All, Lifestyles of the Rich and Conscious with MarBeth Dunn, featuring experts and pioneers in health, wealth, relationships, and spirituality, creating a happier, healthier, wealthier you. And now, here's our host, MarBeth Dunn.
Welcome to the Having It All Show, Lifestyles of the Rich and Conscious, Episode 5, Moving Through Forgiveness. I'm MarBeth Dunn, coach, mentor, empath, and intuitive, and I can help you confidently align with your purpose, accelerate your growth, and unleash your intuitive genius. Coming up on our next segment is a 6-time Emmy Award winner whose 5-minute video went viral and spawned a movement of global forgiveness endorsed by Archbishop Desmond Tutu and actress Naomi Judd. But first, on a recent broadcast, Judy Van Niekerk shared her story of unforgivable sexual abuse by her father, yet she was able to break through her feelings of victimhood to forgive him. She visited him in prison and even was able to hug him before he died. By moving through her challenges, she emerged a stronger, more powerful woman. Mary Johnson's only son was shot after a fight at a party in 1993. He was only 20 years old. His murderer, 16-year-old Oshia Israel, was tried as an adult and spent 17 years in prison. Mary could not forgive him. She even petitioned against his parole. One day, Mary knew she needed to visit Oshia in prison. And after her first visit, Mary told the Daily Beast, "I began to feel this movement in my feet. It moved up my legs, and it just moved up my body. And when I felt it leave me, I instantly knew that all that anger and hatred and animosity I had had in my heart for all these years was over." She had totally forgiven him. Not only did she forgive him, but she petitioned to get him paroled, and the two now live as neighbors in the same duplex. She has even referred to Oshia Israel as her son. And he says that he admires her for being brave enough to offer forgiveness and for being brave enough to take that step. And it motivates him to make sure that he stays on the right path. True forgiveness wipes the slate clean, and it offers a new perspective on old issues that have been keeping you stuck. The wonderful part of letting go of pain and hurt and old wounds is that it frees you to embrace a bright new future. Resentment and anger and pain, they can restrict your financial flow as well. And the funny thing is that you may not even know that you're still carrying around your old baggage. Download my free guide, 5 Steps to Wealth and Wellness, and the pitfalls to avoid, and learn how you can finally let the past go so you can be free to live your bright new future. Go to TheHavingItAllShow.com and download your guide now. That's TheHavingItAllShow.com. Today on The Having It All Show, 6-time Emmy Award winner who has interviewed many presidents, filmed hundreds of celebrities, been featured on CNN, ABC, Inc. magazine, and USA Today, Shawne Duperone's personal passion is forgiveness, and her movement on global forgiveness was created through a film called Project Forgive. So, Shawne, welcome. I'm so happy to have you here on Having It All.
I am just tickled. Hey, girl, how's it going with Shayna?
Awesome. Well, first of all, tell us about Project Forgive.
soon as you say Project Forgive, my heart melts. I never knew that when we did a little video that went viral, that it would become a movement and that we'd actually create a nonprofit foundation. And it really just came from a dear, dear friend of my family. His family was killed by a drunk driver, his wife and his two sons. And my kids babysat those kids, Sammy and Alex, and Judy, the woman who was killed by the drunk driver with her two boys, was my husband's business coach. And what made this so significant, of course, this is just a horrible thing to happen. A man, Gary, lost his entire family. What makes this so interesting is that later that same day, this was a few years back, I found out that the man who killed them, Tom Wellinger, is also a dear family friend. So this I get goosebumps every time I say it, so I know I'm on the right track because I'm so moved by it, because both of these families are so amazing and so exquisite. And of course, they'd be on a conversation collectively about what it means to forgive someone for making a horrific choice like drinking and driving. And so we created a little video on it and created all this momentum globally about the conversation of forgiveness, regardless of your religion, regardless of your spirituality. Forgiveness is an inherent message and conversation for everyone. And that's what's happened. We've created this global movement and a foundation.
Wow. It's so powerful. It's something that everyone needs to deal with. Forgiveness. So what do you find that most people struggle with?
There's a lot. It's even the defining of the word, because forgiveness means different things to different people. And what I'm noticing on our Facebook page, we're reaching millions on Facebook now, is I can share a quote about wherever you are in your journey, and someone's going to disagree because we're all at different points and places in forgiveness. Because in the academic world, I'm an academic, there's 5 stages of forgiveness, which usually include, depending on what happened to you or for you, as I like to say, is you got shock, you got anger, you have grief, you have looking for a solution, and then finally you have peace. And it isn't a linear process. You can go back and forth and up and down and all around. Like, say you lose your job and you're heartbroken, you didn't see it coming. Then the next day you have an interview right away and you're like, oh, great. One door closes, another door opens. And then you don't get that job, then you're back in despair again or anger. And this process of forgiveness is so different for everyone. There's no wrong way to forgive. And the biggest thing I see people struggling with the most is grief is one, and how to move through grief, because we don't like to be weak and say, oh, we're grieving. It's tough when you lose your job. You have to grieve that loss. You can move on to the next one. And also self-forgiveness. Self-forgiveness is a toughie. It's a tough one for most people.
It was for me, totally.
Yeah.
And I find also that forgiveness, or the lack of forgiveness, keeps you stuck in that state of victimhood. Don't you find that?
Oh, yeah. It's, you see all the quotes, you drink the poison if you're not forgiving, and you can't be truly free till you forgive. And they're all cliches, and they really are true. And when you do your own personal anger work and own personal grief work, you really do get freedom. And when I'm stuck with something, like really, really stuck, and I just can't get through it, and I've been doing some really deep work lately, because for me, the becoming of an amazing human being is just part of life. You're always becoming. And one of the things that's always helped me get unstuck is forgiving myself for not forgiving myself.
Ooh, I love that.
Giving myself for not forgiving. It's like it starts the process. Like, can I forgive myself for not forgiving myself? That actually brings me to tears, MarBeth, because I can forgive myself for not forgiving myself. And it's just starting that little process bit by bit. And it depends on the transgression that was against you, that was held against you, the circumstance. Because some things are easy to forgive. Like the guy that cut you off on the freeway. I can get over that in about 30 seconds now. You know what I mean? But some people can't. Some people it takes half an hour. It depends on who you are as a person and where you're at in your life. And the game is to be in that process of forgiveness. And Mother Teresa and Gandhi and Martin Luther King Jr., my heroes, they always talk about forgiveness as a way of being. And it doesn't mean you're trampled on and treated like a victim and everyone takes advantage of you. It's not that. It's having strong boundaries. It's complicated and it's simple. It's complicated and it's simple. And I love this conversation.
I do too. What do you mean it's complicated and it's simple?
Well, the bottom line is if you're feeling really angry, what's underneath that is grief, usually. It's very simple. When you look at it in research, when you look at it academically, get mad, feel the grief, grieve your loss, and move on. Now, it's easy to say. It's a very different conversation to do. And one conversation for me is I'm finishing up my PhD, and when I was presenting my prospectus to move into my research, I failed it. I failed miserably, and I didn't expect it. And then the next day, of course, I was on a plane ride to India. I was on a plane for 27 hours just in frickin' agony. And it took me about 4 months to move through that. I was so mad. I was mad at my committee. I was mad at my advisor. Like, how could she guide me this way? I did exactly what she told me to do. And then looking back, going through that process, I saw all the red flags all along. I wasn't listening to my intuition. I didn't know any better. I've never done this process before. And I knew something was off. MarBeth. You know how when you know?
Yeah.
But I didn't know enough to do something about it. And through this 4-month process of deep grief, I mean, I have many nights on the couch just grieving because I've been working on this PhD for so long. And I moved through that grief, and I got to powerfully choose my PhD again and fall in love with my committee and see their brilliance. It was a 4-month deep journey of moving through that. And it's simple and it's complicated. Feel your anger, feel your grief, find a solution, acceptance and peace, and then you're off to the races. And it's complicated to go through that and allow those feelings to come up, because we avoid feelings like the freaking plague, man. I want to be positive. I don't want to be angry. And it's such an oxymoron, because one of the biggest components of forgiveness that I found as a researcher and doing this film, and even talking to a bunch of 4-year-olds, we struggle culturally with the conversation of anger, because we have it that you're a bad person, you're negative if you're angry. That's just bull crap. That's bull crap. The nicest people in the world are the ones that let themselves be angry appropriately, say when it's anger. And we, in our culture, we equate anger with violence. Anger is not violent. You can say, I am really mad right now. I need to process this a little bit. I can't talk to you right now, like I says to my husband a lot. I'm so angry right now. I don't want to say something. I'm a regret. I need to work through this because I'm pretty darn angry right now. So can you just give me a little bit of space, please? Boom. And then we can get to a place where we can actually talk about something. And that's, to me, in my world, that's the biggest leader of divorce, is our inability to share our anger with our partners. If you can't be angry with your partner, who can you be angry with?
That's true. I've thought about that. Very true. And I think also with in terms of forgiveness, when you're angry, you need to have just a little willingness sometimes to see things from a different perspective. That opens the door for that forgiveness process to begin, don't you think?
Absolutely. And when we did the little video that went viral, you'll see it when you go look at it on our website. The children, I asked them about forgiveness. It's really cute. The video is fun. I also asked them off camera, which will be in the film because we're doing a documentary, what about anger? And all of them, we interviewed about 24-year-olds. Every single one of them said anger is bad. And I'm like, isn't that interesting? Like, would you get mad at somebody for giggling? No, giggling is an emotion. Laughing is an emotion. Anger is an emotion. We just have so much crap attached to it. And anger is the easy one. It's the grief that's hard to be with, that most people we have a hard time being with the grief and grieving your losses, especially as an entrepreneur. Like, the entrepreneurs that really rock it out are the ones that take risks. Entrepreneurs take risks. And then when it doesn't work out, and it doesn't work out a lot because you're trying different things, when you can grieve those losses, that's when you don't keep repeating the same freaking mistake over and over and over again. Same with creating boundaries. Like, if you have to create boundaries with your mother-in-law because she keeps telling you how to parent your 2-year-old. There's got to be a point, we know this as grandmothers, right? My daughter had to set great boundaries. Mom, I love you. And this is a parenting issue, and I need you to back away because I need you to trust. I am a psychiatrist after all, and she is. She's a child. It's like, I understand. She's had to say that to me maybe 20 times before I finally accepted that and wasn't so codependent. And now there's a lot of freedom and energy around the parenting, but she had to get mad at me and say, I don't like that. That doesn't feel good. Please stop doing that. And how beautiful and precious that the relationship is safe enough that I can say, okay, Autumn, I'll take that under advisement. I really value your opinion, and I'm overstepping my bounds. I'm not quite sure how to do this yet. Will you just forgive me and love me up, and we'll figure this out? And it took us a good year. My grandson's 5 now, right?
We'll be back to our show in just a moment. Would you agree that the current state of the world is angry, chaotic, turbulent, and possibly insane? And that's not even mentioning everyone's personal issues. We all need miracles, and now is the time. I'm MarBeth Dunn, the Miracle Mama. Imagine a river of miracles flowing into your life, bringing harmonious relationships, better health, prosperity, clarity, peace of mind, and a deep sense of joy. What if you could know all your needs are being met and feel calm and peaceful even in the midst of turbulent change? Get your free guide now, 7 easy ways to harness the power of miracles at miracles101.com. That's miracles101.com and live your miraculous life. But that's wonderful. So it's about setting boundaries and creating a safe place for you to be able to express your anger.
Yep. And it takes courage to set boundaries. It takes courage to be angry. In my world, it even takes more courage to vulnerably show your grief, to vulnerably show it. You know, my son got married this weekend, and it was a surprise marriage. And I had so much grief around it. Don't get me wrong, I had a lot of happiness, but I grieved the loss of not planning for a year. Are you with me? Because there's a journey and a process. I did it with my daughter. There's also, and please hear this beautifully, my son is gay. And with gay marriage through now, he married this beautiful man named Pietro. And I've been through so many journeys of accepting and appreciating my son being a gay man. Never really had much bias that I knew around gay people. But when it's your child, what I discovered is, I got some stuff there, like seeing my son hold hands with a man as a teenager, kissing a man. I moved through a lot of transitions, and I had some grief around wanting a daughter-in-law. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. It was just moving through the grief of my expectations, and, even now as I'm sharing, my expectations have been beyond what I could imagine, because seeing my son so happy and so in love and allowing all those feelings to be there so I can be and express joy, and forgiving myself for not being completely clean about him marrying a gay man. I hope this conversation is okay, MarBeth. This is just what's going on in my life right now, and it's just been a beautiful process this weekend.
I love it. I love the fact that you're so open and so vulnerable. So, Shawne, what is the best forgiveness advice that you have for our listeners?
You know what? Probably the one, like when you think of the friend you love the most, that you're so kind to and so precious with and so compassionate, be that for yourself. Even practice that, because we're so hard on ourselves, and even starting that process of forgiving yourself for not being forgiving. We are so hard on ourselves. When we can tap in to our own preciousness and be as kind to ourselves as we would be to our most precious friends, that's when real movement starts to happen. That would be my biggest piece of advice. Because sometimes I'll be hard on myself. I'm like, okay, little Shawne, is that how you'd really talk to your best friend, or how you talk to your husband, or how you talk to your grandchild? The answer is no. You would never be that harsh or unkind. You would be so compassionate. So I can change my tune pretty quick.
I love that. That's so powerful. I find that most people are horrible to themselves.
Well, I know you teach a lot of that, MarBeth. I know. Well, can you imagine if we were kind to ourselves as we were to our most precious friends? There's another one too, and I know we were talking about doing this today, is a conversation of accepting the apology you'll never receive. Yeah, that's something we created out of our foundation. We're a leadership foundation, and we focus on forgiveness and compassion in the workplace, in particular with leaders as well as with students. And one of our most famous activities is the conversation of accepting the apology you'll never receive. Can I use you've heard me say the neighbor story. Can I use my neighbor as an example, MarBeth?
Of course. I love the story.
Okay, so and I'm probably going to keep telling this story till I'm through it, because he still frickin' annoys me. Okay, I just look at him and I'm frickin' annoyed. I'm doing better. Don't get me wrong. There's that one person in your life. Maybe there's several. Some of us have several. As soon as you see that person, you just go, ah.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
so annoyed, like, oh, get this person away from me. Oh, I don't want to deal with this person. It isn't even someone you obsess about. Like, I don't think about this neighbor when I don't see him, but as soon as I see him, I get that whoosh up my body. He's the type of neighbor, when I go out to get the mail, he'll say, "Good morning, Shawne," and I'll smile at him and I'll say, "Yes, but it's not morning, it's 6 p.m." And he'll say, "I know, but you look like you just got up." He's one of those people. Okay.
Oh.
So, and a lot of what I teach, as a media trainer, as a communication leader, is this conversation of what are you broadcasting? What's the signal you're giving off? And I'm a pretty happy person. Like, I'm pretty fun. I'm very loved. I have a great life, but this neighbor, his experience of me, of what I broadcast, is that I'm the B word, man. Like, I'm this annoyed, arrogant neighbor to him because I'm always in that space when I see him, right? Because I'm so annoyed when I just look at him. And I'm like, okay, Shawne, that's not going to work for you because, I want to be congruent wherever I am. Doesn't mean I'm Gandhi and Jesus and I forgive people in an instant. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is I don't want to broadcast angry and annoyed with this person in particular. So we came up with this activity called Accepting the Apology You'll Never Receive. So in my mind's eye, I think about this neighbor and I think about if he could apologize to me, what would he say? If he had the skills, because everybody has different skills, right? And he would say something like, "Oh, Shawne, I am so sorry. I'm so socially awkward. I say the dumbest things in public. The truth is, I don't have these skills. I just want you to love me. I want you to connect with me. I have no clue how to do it. Would you forgive me for being so socially awkward?" And right when I think that, I can, on a dime, have compassion for him and forgive him and accept the apology I'll never receive and change who I'm being in the moment with him. Now, this is a mastery skill. I practice this everywhere. And I don't see him that often, maybe a couple times a week, and I can practice this skill right away. It's not when I see him, am I automatically in that space. It takes a little bit of work, a couple minutes here and there to actually be in that space where I have compassion for him. And I've watched this activity and all these trainings we've done through authentic leadership and all the workplaces we've taken it to, whether it's a boss that annoys you, a person who got a job that you wanted, whatever it is, this technique, tool deeply works. And the more you do it, the more masterful you become and the more free you become. And it is an exquisite tool.
I totally love it. And I find that just even your speaking about it brings you into a greater state of being. You feel so much more expanded and just your greater self. It just feels really, really powerful.
I so appreciate you saying that, MarBeth, because whatever our passion is in life, it's what we need to learn most. So I am not the queen of forgiveness. Trust me. I mean, I have lots of things left to forgive, and I'm in process in a lot of things. And skills like this make me masterful in the moment. And I'm just so excited to be able to share that tool because it is an amazing tool when you practice it.
It's a total amazing tool. I love it.
Find us on Facebook. Also, if you're inspired to check out our website, our new stuff is about to come out. We've got so many people helping us because we're a nonprofit. And if you feel inspired to donate, we will welcome your donations. And we're working on making everything free through corporate sponsorships, our workshops, our tools. We want to make as many things free as possible for people all over the globe. I mean, we're reaching people. At this point, some days we're reaching up to 30 million a month. It's pretty amazing.
Wow.
And we're just committed to that.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you so much, Shawne. This has been fabulous, as always.
Oh, you're an exquisite interviewer. Can I just tell you, you're so good at what you do, MarBeth, and it is my tickled delight to be with you. I just love being with you.
I love being with you too, Shawne. To learn more about Shawne Duperone and Project Forgive, visit her show page on TheHavingItAllShow.com. And if you love the show, subscribe for free. You'll see the red iTunes button on the page. And when you subscribe, you can download all the current show episodes. You'll see them on the page. You can also find them on iTunes. And the new episodes will be downloaded automatically into your iTunes. Also, if you like the show, let other people know about us. And rate and review our show on iTunes as well. Thank you. I so appreciate you. Would not have this show without you. If you have been feeling stuck in old patterns and your old solutions are not working, download my free report, Having It All, 5 Steps to Wealth and Wellness and the Pitfalls to Avoid. Go to TheHavingItAllShow.com, download your free report now. That's TheHavingItAllShow.com. That's our show. We'll see you next week.
Join MarBeth next week on The Having It All Show, Lifestyles of the Rich and Conscious. Visit TheHavingItAllShow.com now to learn more about MarBeth and her special guests and download your free report.